ముందుగా ప్రియమైన విద్యార్థులకు మరియు వారి తల్లిదండ్రులకు నమస్కారం. నా పేరు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ చైర్మన్. నేను ఈ రోజు 10th క్లాస్ విద్యార్థులను దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని మాట్లాడడం జరుగుతుంది. అది ఏమిటనగా మనందరికీ తెలుసు, గత 2 సంవత్సరాలుగా కరోనా కారణంగా విద్యార్థులు ఎటువంటి పరీక్షలు రాయకుండానే పై తరగతులు పంపడం జరుగుతుంది. ఫలితంగా ఐఐటి జేఈ మరియు నీట్ లాంటి జాతీయ స్థాయి పరీక్షలను సాధించడం కష్టతరం అవుతుంది. దీనిని అధిగమించడానికి మరియు 10వ తరగతి పరీక్షలో అత్యధిక మార్కులు సాధించడానికి నేను మీ ముందుకు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ద్వారా అనుభవజ్ఞులైన అధ్యాపకులచే ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులు, హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్ మరియు గత ప్రశ్నపత్రాల సమాధానాల విశ్లేషణ ఇవ్వబడును. కాబట్టి నేను విద్యార్థులకు చెప్పదలుచుకున్నది ఏంటంటే, ఈ ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులను మరియు హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్లను క్లాస్ రూమ్లో కూర్చొని చదువుకున్నంత సీరియస్ చదువుకోవాలను. ఇంకొకటి ఏమిటనగా, ఈ యొక్క క్లాసులు విన్న వెంటనే అర్థం చేసుకొని ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయవలను. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయడం అంటే కేవలం చదవడం కాదు, పేపర్ మీద రాయవలను. అలాగైతే గుర్తుండిపోతుంది. దీంతో పాటు మీ యొక్క నాలెడ్జ్ని పరీక్షించుకునే కొరకు త్వరలో ప్రీ ఫైనల్ పరీక్షలు కూడా నిర్వహించబడు. ఈ యొక్క అవకాశాన్ని సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోవాలని 10th చదివే విద్యార్థులకు విజ్ఞప్తి చేస్తున్నాను.
So the last topic of the transportation is the transporting the plants. So we have seen already the transportation in animals. So that means the blood, how it transports to all other parts. Now we'll see the transportation in plants. Transportation in plants. So, what are the tissues involved in the transportation? What is transported? We'll see. So, the plants here. It takes water or minerals from soil. What's the tissue involved? Xylem. So the plant prepares the food materials. Food is prepared. Okay. Food is prepared in leaves. So it is sent from source to the sink.
Students, my name is Vishal Sharma and I did my BTech from IIT Kanpur in Electrical Engineering. I have an experience of more than 12 years in preparing IIT JEE aspirants for this examination. Under me already more than 100 students have cracked this IIT JEE examination. Right now I am associated with K Venkana classes. Now K Venkana classes, for the first time in Hyderabad, it has brought your top Delhi IIT and NITN faculties. Now what are you waiting for? Come and join us and realize your dream of getting into IITs.
Okay, from source to sink. Source is the leaf, sink is all the parts. It is done by phloem. So this xylem, phloem is the vascular bundles. So these two are the vascular bundle or the vascular tissue. So this xylem will also contain some another tissues like xylem vessels, tracheids, fibers, so like that. And even the phloem also will also have the sieve cell, companion cells, like that. So what xylem will have these cells? What are the different cells? Like xylem vessels, tracheids, fibers, parenchyma. So these are the cells of xylem. Then what are the cells of phloem? Are the sieve cells or sieve tubes, companion tubes or companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and the phloem fibers. Okay, this tracheids is the non-living material, the dead one. Mostly the phloem parenchyma is the living one. The sieve cell, companions are also the dead ones. So here the transport of the water is done by the xylem and the food is done by the phloem. So now we'll see the transport of water or minerals. Transport of water or minerals. So the root. So there are different assumptions to prove this transport of water. So what is meant by transport of water? The upward movement of water or the minerals through the xylem is called the transport here. So it can also be called ascent of sap also, we can tell. Ascending in the ascending order of the materials from lower to the higher against the gravitational force. So how water moves? So the movement of water or the minerals, so through the xylem, here the water or the minerals, how they move, they move upward movement, move upwards against the gravitational force, against the gravitation they move. So the upward movement of water or the minerals through the xylem is the transportation. The single statement, if you get into the higher classes, called the ascent of sap. Sap means here the protoplast. Sap is nothing but the liquid material. So this is called the ascent of sap. There are many assumptions to prove how this transportation is done, like example osmotic pressure, the root pressure, and transpiration pull. So did you just ever seen the how the long trees they receive the water? Yes, if it is okay, if it is a small herbs or the shrubs, then if you think about the tall plants, even their topmost branches also they are green. So the plant takes water, okay, for their photosynthesis. So the green color because of this photosynthesis. So the definitely plant wants the water for their survival. If it is okay with the small one, then a question comes like the tall trees, like long tall trees, how they take the water, how roots will carry that water to the top level. That's the one question, like cinchona. It's a tall plant, how water it reaches the topmost one. So what will be the mechanism? Did you ever just think? So what is, there are some assumptions like different out of them the proved one is the transpirational pull. So if it is a small plant, the root pressure or the osmotic pressure may helpful, but when it comes to the tall plant, this root pressure and the osmotic pressure they won't work, because the roots, the small one, okay, if we see that their top means the trees, I mean the vegetative part, the stem or the leaf, they are so tall than the root system. So okay, there is some difficulty in terms of osmotic one and the root pressure. So then what will be the factor responsible for that? Is the answer is the transpirational pull. So let's see the osmotic pressure first of all. Osmotic pressure, we'll see whether it is useful or not, we'll see, we'll check it. So these are our roots here. This is the root hair. Just imagine, this is the soil. So the soil takes the water from the interstitial materials present in between the soil to soil. There will be space. From that space the water is collected. So the roots will collect because with the semi-permeable membrane. So the root hair will act as a semi-permeable membrane here. So this is a semi-permeable membrane. It will act as semi-permeable membrane. So our water is here. So it will enter into the root system through the osmosis. What is osmosis? Means the movement of materials, movement of substances from higher concentration to lower concentration through the semi-permeable membrane is called the osmotic pressure. So this movement of water, for water from high to low concentration here. Here you have the very high concentration of water. Outside, high concentration in the sense outside water is there, inside no water. So the movement of water from high to low. So this is the osmosis. So through the osmosis the water enters, it creates some pressure. Okay. So that pressure, because of the osmosis, the water will enter into the root system. From root system to shoot again, it will send to all other parts. So this is also one theory or the mechanism. Okay. So understood with this osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure in the sense, because of the osmosis, the water enters into the root system. So the movement of water from high concentration to the low concentration through the membrane. So which will act as a membrane here? The root wall will act as a membrane. So it will send the water to inside. So this is okay with the small plants, but not for the tall plants, because this pressure exerted by the osmosis is only a little bit. It will last for only small plants, not for the tall plants. It's a small pressure. So this is not accepted. Not accepted. It only is applicable only for the small things, not for the tall plants. So let's see the next one also. Next one is also root pressure. So this root pressure means the pressure exerted by the root. So these are the roots, root hairs. So these root hairs here, they exert the pressure. So because of that pressure, the water will send into the all other parts. So imagine once, is it applicable? Definitely no, because applicable only for the small, not for the tall plants, because tall plants, so applicable only for the small ones, not for the tall ones. So we have one activity over this root pressure. So what is that activity? We'll see. So take a potted plant, okay, well watered, okay. So this stem should fit into the tube. So take one tube here like this is a tube, fix it, okay. The size should be same. So before here, fill this with water, fill this with water. This tube should be filled with water. So mark it as M1 here. So put this setup in the sunlight or anywhere. So you just next what you need to do, you need to water the plant. Water the plant. So what will happen here? Observation. You can find the rise in the tube here. So M2. This is because of the rise, because the roots, as you know, definitely you need to supply the water, because so the roots will absorb the water, it will send to all other parts. See here it is a connection, right? Because of that you can see the rise here. So this is the activity to prove the root pressure. So what is mean the root pressure here? The pressure exerted by the root is called the root pressure. What is the activity? What you need to do? Take a potted plant. Take a potted plant and insert the tube. Insert the tube. Okay, insert the tube in the stem region, so that there is a connection. So next what you need to do? Mark the level of water. Mark the level of water in tube. Let it be M1. Then after what you need to do? You need to water the plant. Water the plant. After watering the plant, you can just, after a few hours, you can see the rise in the tube, that is M2. So by this what we can observe? The root pressure. What do you observe? Observation is rise in the tube, water rise. What is the inference here? Because of the root pressure, you can see the change in the level of the water. So this is about the root pressure. So imagine, if it is a small plant, it's okay here, because the roots are the small structures, they play a role and will move the water level, but it's not for the tall plants. So this was also not accepted. This is also not reason. So there might be some other reason, right? So what is the reason? What is the answer here? So the answer is the transpirational pull, third one. Transpirational pull. So what is this transpiration? What is this transpiration here? Transpiration is evaporation of water from the parts of the plant is called transpiration. So the evaporation or loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant is called transpiration. So what will happen? See here. So because of the loss, because of the loss of water from here, so it has created one tension on this. Because of this tension, transpiration, it has created one tension here. Because of this tension here, the roots, here the root system, it will pull the water upside. It will pull because of the transpiration. So continuously, whenever it is created one tension, when loss is happened, it has to be satisfied. So it will suck it will collects, it will transport the water to the upside. So that because of this is called the transpiration. So we have seen one advertisement, like one boy glucose ad. So that boy, boy is in the hot sun. Okay, he is exhausted, he is tired. So what sun will do? It will put one straw and collects all the energy. It draws all the energy from the boy. So here our ad comes. What is the ad here? Glucose. If it takes a glucose bottle, so no energy, somehow the energy, if it is lost, he can get again get the energy with that glucose. The same way here, Here also, because of the sun, the transpiration means the loss of water it is happening. To fulfill that deficiency here, the roots, what it will do, it will draw the water. So the root system here, because of this, because of that transpirational pull, the water will enter into the root system. Root system. So the two water molecules, the force between two water molecules is called the cohesion. This is the root, right? How water enters. This is the force between two water molecules is the cohesion force. It moves up. Adhesion, and also another force is acted. Adhesion means, so there is no connection, but there is no between the wall to the water, means like not like a sponge. But because it's not, the water is not absorbed into the wall here, that's called adhesion. So you put one honey drop on the paper, it will not absorb, that's called the adhesion, it will only stay. Okay, same like that, the water also, whenever it is moving into the root system, it will not absorb. The force is the adhesion, just it will go upwards. So that's about the transpirational pull. So even though we have the tall plants, no matter here the transpiration will act, it will create the tension. Because of the tension, the water moves into the root system and it will send to all other parts of the plant. So this is the transportation of water.